Do you know that how you present yourself can determine how others treat you? Whether it be in public, in the workplace, just in general, people automatically perceive you according to how they live their lives when they meet you. And that is based on your presentation. However, I will say the most important time to consider that would be when going for a job interview. As a former HR manager, as a staffing owner of a staffing agency, I can tell you that I have seen several people come to interviews and they are not dressed accordingly. So whether it's myself, the HR coordinator, generalist, or hiring manager, somewhere along that transition of going from one person to the next, you're testing, all of these different things, someone will perceive you based on your work attire, but also your communication and your nonverbal communication. These things are extremely important and are extremely important to consider when going to a job interview. I can't stress that enough. I have seen numerous applicants, candidates, basically withdraw themselves without realizing it because of their presentation. You can't go to a job interview chewing gum, on your cell phone, dressed inappropriately, jeans, short dress, like you just left the club, whatever the case may be, blue hair, red hair. What that tells the individuals that are interviewing you, again, whether it's the HR staff or the hiring manager, is that you're not taking that position or that interview seriously. They don't want to hire people that will be a challenge, someone that will not take that job seriously, because their pay raises, their salaries, their job, period, is based on production, quality. So why would they hire someone that doesn't take an opportunity seriously? So if nothing else, make sure that when you do go for a job interview, that you consider that. Nice work attire, slacks, if you're a woman or man, you can wear either one of those. If you're a woman, a nice suit, pantsuit, or a nice dress is appropriate. There's just so many different things that you really need to consider. Same thing for men. Nice slacks, nice dress, shirt, clean, no colored hair, no chewing of gum. And then, of course, the next steps is to be early. Don't just be on time. Make sure that you allow yourself enough time to be on time and to have time to park your vehicle, to walk to the location, to take an elevator if needed. I have, in my history of interviewing, driven to interviews and go into one location to only have to transition across campus. You need to allow time for anything that can happen during that transition and to still be on time and be able to relax, compose yourself, maybe think to yourself about your interview questions, answers, how you would, shake hands with the person that is interviewing you. There are just so many things that you need to do, and that will allow you time to do that. So those are kind of the fundamentals, the basics. Always take copies of your resume, just as important. Even if you know that you've presented your resume to this individual, of course they have it, maybe at their desk, but it looks professional. And in many cases, when you go into a interview, you may not realize it's a panel interview. So there's 3 or 4 other people that are sitting there that are also planning to interview you, and they don't have a copy of that resume. But guess what? If you are prepared and you have a folder with additional copies, I always say have at least 3 or 4 and one for yourself. So as they're going through your interview, your resume, you are flowing through that with them, and you can jot down notes. according to questions that they ask or information they provide as it relates to the job on that piece of paper. So it actually works in two different ways. It helps you stay in line, organized when you're conversing about your experience, but also you can use it as a notepad, right? So being prepared, and I tell you, when you take a folder with those copies of resumes and you walk into any kind of interview and they see you have those copies, whether it's one person or 5 people that are interviewing you, and you have those copies, they are going to be impressed. Oh, this person is prepared. This person is professional. This person is ready to go. This is who we want on our team. And so now you have a panel of hiring managers that are probably fighting to get you in their unit. I've experienced that. And all of that is based on your presentation. So being on time, being early actually, having those extra copies, dressing appropriately, all of that is your presentation. Very, very important. Again, be prepared. So what else does it mean for you? That means you also need to prepare to ask questions. Ask about the culture of the environment. What is it like to work in your unit? What is it like to work with each one of these managers that I'm sitting here with right now? They each have a different unit possibly, or they could all be in one unit, but just different managers maybe working a different shift. So what you want to do is make sure that you ask those questions. They frown when you go into an interview, you complete the interview, and you did not ask a question. Don't be nervous. You've done everything up to that point that you were supposed to do. Now it's time to ask questions. So what I always have done with my experience is when they're talking, and so I already have a couple of questions I already know. My basic questions I'm going to ask about your culture, your department, your unit, the company. I'm going to ask about those. Those are basic general as far as I'm concerned. But if you want to ask something in addition to that, when the individual are talking about their unit, what they do, that is an opportunity to listen. Listen for things that you can write down on your piece of paper to follow up with a question. They love that. They love that. For example, I'll give you a quick example. For example, working in a claims department. If you've never worked in claims, you know absolutely nothing about it. But depending on what unit they're bringing you into, and usually if you have no experience, it's at the bottom. So that means general. More than likely, customer service, claims department, or it could be the first notice of loss. So you're the first person that an insured, meaning a person that has a policy with an insurance company, is going to speak to. That will be your job function. That will be your duties. So again, you should still have questions. Well, what kind of system do you use for this type of environment? Approximately, how many phone calls do you get a day? Those are kind of things that you want to ask. You can ask about training. What does training entail? Is it a mass training? Is it a one-on-one training? How many days is training? Is there anything specific that I should know coming into this position that I haven't asked about? All of those different things are questions that you can ask as it relates to that. Very general. Make it work for you. No matter what the position is, you can use everything that I just mentioned for that same role and just tweak it. Presentation. You're prepared. You're calm. You dress appropriately. Your hair, your clothes, you're on time. You have your resume. All of these things say that you are the professional that they are looking for. That is the presentation that you want to present to whomever it is that you meet. Always shake the hand before as well as after the interview. Thank the person or persons for having you there, allowing you to come and interview for that position. Most importantly, let them know you are still interested. You really learned a lot today, and you're even more excited about the possibilities of working with ABC Corporation. That's it for now. I look forward to our next podcast. Have a great day.